I in no way notion I'd see the day, muttered Captain XY Lith as he surveyed the scene earlier than him. They've truly executed it. The humans. They've subsequently controlled to outsmart us. His eyes traced the sensitive, winding course of the ribbon of stars that changed into the Dargoni's corridor, the vital alternate course and strategic lifeline that stretched among the two warring factions of the galaxy. It became commonly patrolled by way of the finest ships within the alien fleet, however not these days. Today, the hull was empty. Deserted. A sense of foreboding settled closely in the captain's chest as he persevered to stare at the empty space wherein the fleet have to be. He knew what this meant. He knew what the human beings had been capable of. And he knew that his superiors were not going to be satisfied approximately this improvement. The bridge of the flagship hummed with pastime as officials scrambled to make sense of the state of affairs. The tactical show confirmed nothing, however empty space wherein the enemy fleet should were. The lengthy variety sensors were picking up no symptoms of adversarial pastime, no indication of an ambush or a wonder assault. And yet, something felt incorrect. Sir, came a voice from in the back of him. Our scouts have suggested that the human fleet is nowhere to be located. They've simply disappeared. Captain XY Lith became to stand his relied-on aide, Commander's Lathlun. The alien's golden eyes were narrowed in thought, his expression a mixture of problem and confusion. This doesn't make any sense, Commander. They cannot simply vanish into skinny air. There need to be some type of trickery at play. Indeed, sir. Our intelligence shows that the humans were working on a brand new era that might potentially permit them to achieve such feats. However, we have by no means seen it in movement earlier than, and we were not looking forward to it to be deployed so quickly. The captain let loose a protracted, exasperated sigh. Well, Commander, it appears we're confronted with a predicament. Do we retain along the Dargoni's corridor, hoping that the people will screen themselves, or will we abandon it and find any other direction? Commander's Lathlun, taken into consideration the query, for a moment earlier than responding. My recommendation, sir, is to continue alongside the corridor. The humans can be the use of this as a ruse to entice us into a lure. By forsaking the corridor, we would be playing right into their hands. We must remain vigilant and prepare for any eventuality. Captain XY Lith nodded thoughtfully. He agreed. Let's keep our modern-day direction and prepare a contingency plan, simply in case. We can't have enough money to underestimate the human beings once more. As the two aliens persisted to speak about their method, the bridge group went about their duties with renewed urgency, aware that the fate of the galaxy might cling inside the balance. Little did they realize that the humans had something even extra unexpected in save for them. Captain XY Lith leaned in closer to Commander's Lathlun, decreasing his voice to a whisper. Do you think it is possible that they have determined some way to cover their ships inside the Dargoni's corridor itself? Perhaps they have evolved era that lets in them to become invisible in the warp fields of the nebula. The commander considered the idea for a moment earlier than responding. It's viable, sir. We cannot underestimate the human's potential to innovate. However, even supposing that have been the case, we've our own generation that ought to be able to stumble on this kind of pastime. The captain nodded in agreement. Then allow us maintain a near eye on our sensors and be prepared to counter any threat, regardless of where it comes from. Hours passed, and still the lengthy, winding ribbon of stars that changed into the Dargoni's corridor remained empty. The silence became deafening, and the tension at the bridge became palpable. Suddenly, the communications officer spoke up. Sir, we're receiving a transmission. It's the human fleet. Captain XY Lith and Commanders Lath Lun exchanged glances, their golden eyes narrowing in anticipation. Put it through, the captain ordered. A grainy image appeared at the screen, displaying the human admiral, his face twisted into a sneer. Captain XY Lith, it has been some time. We were hoping you'd be part of us for a bit celebration. We're throwing in the subsequent system over. He gestured to something off-screen. And bring a gift, if you may. The photo shifted, revealing a large, unfamiliar deliver, its glossy strains and menacing appearance unmistakable. A new alien race, one that the aliens had never encountered earlier than. Captain XY Litha's heart sank as he realized the gravity of the state of affairs. The humans had been gambling them all along. They had used the Dargoni's corridor as bait, luring the alien fleet right into entice. And now, they have been going through a good more threat, a brand new enemy, one that they knew nothing about. He became to Commander's Lath Lun, his expression grim. Commander, it seems we've been outsmarted once more. We should discover a manner to warn our superiors approximately this new risk. And fast. The commander nodded solemnly. Aye, Captain. Our first precedence must be to research this new race and determine their talents. Once we've that records, we are able to decide on the best course of motion. In the meantime, we need to preserve our vigilance and be organized for any eventuality. Captain XY Lith took a deep breath, seeking to regulate his nerves. He agreed. Helm, modify route to analyze the system the humans are referring to. Let's find out more about this new enemy. As the group of the alien vessel organized to have interaction their engines and trade route, the human admiral persisted to chuckle maniacally at the comm screen. And XY Lith? You may need to rush. We're now not the most effective ones who've been waiting for you to show up. The photo shifted over again, this time revealing any other large ship, identical in design to the first, looming ominously in the background. Captain XY Lith felt a sit-back run down his spine, as he realized that the human beings had come what may control to recruit or best friend themselves with this new alien race. The stakes had just been raised extensively, and they were in far deeper hassle than they had ever imagined. As the team of the alien vessel set direction for the unknown machine, the captain called a meeting of his maximum, depended on officials within the Deliver's briefing room. Over a holographic tactical map, they mentioned their options and strategies. The consensus turned into that they needed to collect as a whole lot intelligence as viable about the brand new threat, while nonetheless retaining their vigilance against the human fleet. Commanders Lath Lun volunteered to lead a small reconnaissance group to scout ahead and collect information on the new enemy. Captain XY Lith nodded gratefully, knowing that the commanders' revel in cunning could be precious in this situation. As they organized for the challenge, the captain could not shake the feeling that they have been racing in opposition to the clock. Hours exceeded, and the alien vessel drew in the direction of the surprising device. The tension on board became palpable. The team busied themselves with their stations, everyone acutely aware about the gravity of the scenario. Suddenly, the comm officer spoke up. Sir, we are detecting an unidentified power signature in advance. It might be the human fleet, or it can be the new enemy. Captain XY Litha's coronary heart raced as he taken into consideration their alternatives. Prepare for warfare, Helm. Commanders Lath Lun, stand through to release your recon mission as soon as we've got engaged the enemy. He became to his first officer. Lieutenant, you've got the con. Do not interact the enemy except our hand is forced. Our priority is to gather intelligence and keep away from pointless battle. As they drew closer, the power signature resolved into wonderful forces, the human fleet, and the two large alien vessels they'd encountered in advance. The commander's recon team became already on its manner, rushing in the direction of the enemy forces at top velocity. The extraterrestrial beings knew that their own survival relied on their ability to acquire intelligence and find a manner to counter this new chance. In the gap, the human admiral laughed maniacally over again. "Come and play, my little alien buddies," he taunted. "We've been waiting for you." As the two large alien vessels closed in, the commander's reconnaissance team launched its fighter craft, weaving via the void at breakneck velocity. The alien fleet continued to boost, preserving a shielding formation. The tension turned into palpable as both sides organized for the inevitable conflict. Captain XY-Litha's heart raced with anticipation and dread. He knew that their probabilities of survival depended on the reconnaissance crew's achievement. "Lieutenant," he said, his voice regular despite his mounting anxiety, maintain us in position. We'll support the commander's crew with our lengthy-range weapons. But do now not have interaction the enemy, except absolutely important." The alien vessel's weapon structures hummed to existence as they organized for war. Sensors locked onto the two alien vessels, their armor plating glistening inside the harsh mild of the distant stars. The people have been no strangers to interstellar warfare, and their fleet became equally well prepared. The commander's group could have their paintings reduce out for them. The reconnaissance cruise fighter craft reached the enemy vessels first, launching a sequence of coordinated assaults. Laser beams danced throughout the alien hulls, scoring glancing blows. The aliens' lower backfire, their very own gun systems whining as they tracked the human ships. The human beings have been able to steer clear of most of the counterattacks, but not all. One of the reconnaissance craft became hit, its hull breached and venting atmosphere. The team ejected in emergency pods, floating into the void as their ship was engulfed in flames. Commander's laugh lun, Captain XY-Lith said, his voice packed with grief and determination. Your sacrifice will now not be forgotten. Retrieve the data from that deliver and maintain your challenge. We will avenge your loss. The remaining reconnaissance craft endured their attack, weaving between the alien and human vessels. They had been capable of planting numerous monitoring devices on the enemy hulls before the humans realized their motive. As the aliens watched from a distance, the commander's group disappeared into the void, their task completed. The human fleet and the two alien vessels engaged in a furious conflict, their weapons tearing tremendous gashes through area itself. The alien vessel took several glancing blows, however, managed to avoid any serious harm. The human beings, but, had been no longer so fortunate. One of their ships became destroyed, and some other turned into crippled. Captain XY-Lith waited for the proper moment, biding his time till the people had been sufficiently weakened. Then, with a deft maneuver, his vessel spun and fired its predominant cannon on the crippled enemy ship. The blast was devastating, obliterating the human vessel in a dazzling flash of light. Victory! The captain exhaled, his heart pounding in his chest. But the combat is far from over. We need to find a way to disable or spoil the alternative enemy vessel before they could regroup and release another attack. Helm, pursue the last human ships at the same time as I plot our subsequent flow. As the team of the alien vessel set direction for the fleeing human fleet, Captain XY-Lith knew that their survival relied on their capacity to evolve and outsmart their adversaries. They had confronted adversity before, and they'd continue to achieve this till the chance become eliminated. But for now, they may take solace in the know-how that they had gained this struggle. The conflict became still raging, and there would be greater casualties, but they had taken the first step toward ultimate victory. The alien vessel, smooth and deadly, sped through the vacancy of area, its engines buzzing with strength. The human fleet, scattered and inclined, become a smooth goal. The extraterrestrial beings released a sequence of precision moves, targeting the ships that were nonetheless regrouping on the remote starbase. Explosions lit up the darkness, as portions of shattered metal and molten debris rained down at the empty starscape. Captain XY watched the conflict spread with an aggregate of pride and resolution. His group became skilled and ingenious, and they had verified themselves time and again. But he knew that complacency became the enemy's greatest ally. They couldn't come up with the money to underestimate the human beings, or to grow lax of their vigilance. The warfare could continue, and they'd need to remain sharp and centered in the event that they had been to emerge successful. As the closing of the human ships had been destroyed or pressured to retreat, Captain XY obtained a message from the alien homeworld. They had been tracking the battle, and that they had self-assurance in his capability to steer their forces to victory. The aid and encouragement buoyed his spirits, however he knew that the war became a ways from over. They nonetheless needed to find and wreck the human starbase, the heart in their enemy's operations. With renewed reason, Captain XY ordered his team to devise a course for the starbase. They could want to be cautious and methodical of their method, as the people could surely be on excessive alert. The alien vessel persisted to fly through the vacuum of space, its engines buzzing with strength and precision. As they drew towards the starbase, they commenced to pick up symptoms of improved interest. Sensor readings indicated that the humans had been preparing to release a big counterattack. Captain XY knew that they couldn't manage to pay to be caught off shield. He referred to as a meeting of his senior officers, in which they mentioned their alternatives and strategies. The tension became palpable as they huddled within the cramped convention room. The air turned into thick with anticipation and the information that the fate of their humans rested on their shoulders. After plenty debate, they agreed on a bold plan to infiltrate the starbase and disable its defenses from inside. It turned into a volatile maneuver, but they felt it become their nice chance for fulfillment. The team of the alien vessel spent days getting ready for the assignment. They practiced their assault strategies, honed their fight talents, and painstakingly analyzed the starbase protection protocols. Finally, they had been equipped. Captain XY addressed his group one final time, his voice steady and resolute. Today, we write the final chapter on this long and bloody struggle. Let us display the human beings that we're the advanced race, and that we will now not relaxation till they were vanquished from lifestyles. Victory is ours, for we fight for a higher future. With the one's phrases, the alien vessel engaged its cloaking tool and began its silent method to the human starbase. The group moved into function, their hearts pounding with anticipation and backbone. They have been about to embark on the maximum important undertaking in their lives. As they drew nearer, the starbase loomed big within the viewscreen, its big structure a testament to human ingenuity and resilience. Captain XY studied the sensor readings, trying to find any sign of weak point they might exploit. His crew waited tensely, their arms poised over their consoles, geared up to spring into motion at a moment's be aware. The alien vessel finally docked with the starbase, its hull undetected via the human sensors. The crew of the ship swarmed out in their vessels, their weapons drawn and their actions practiced and particular. They encountered no resistance as they made their manner via the corridors, disabling security structures and sabotaging key defenses. Hours passed as they labored tirelessly to cripple the starbase from within. The people, ignorant of the danger that lurked among them, persevered with their day-by-day workouts, oblivious to the ticking time bomb that had been planted in their midst. Finally, the team of the alien vessel reached the manage center. Captain HFY took a deep breath and ordered his guys to prepare for the final assault. With some quick keystrokes, he disabled the starbase major defenses, leaving it vulnerable to attack. The crew of the alien vessel cheered as they watched the human ships that were waiting past the Starscape pour in, their guns blazing. The struggle was fierce, however the humans had been properly organized and decided. They fought valiantly, riding the aliens' lower back and reclaiming their territory. As the final of the alien ships exploded within the vacuum of area, Captain HFY and his group knew that they had failed. But they also knew that they had now not done so by myself. The people had fought along them, refusing to give up and clinging to the hope of a higher future. As the particles cleared and the starbase returned to its former country of readiness, the survivors from both facets met within the wardroom, their hands extended in friendship and admire. Captain HFY stood earlier than them, his shoulders slumped and his head hung low. He knew that he were defeated, but he additionally understood the cost of their shared war. The struggle is over, he stated, his voice barely above a whisper. We have lost, but we've discovered. We have seen the strength and resilience of the human spirit, and we can now not deny their really worth. We will go back to our humans and tell them of what we have seen and heard. We will urge them to our trying to find peace, to discover a way to coexist with you, to build a brighter destiny collectively. There have been murmurs of agreement from the human infantrymen who stood amongst them. Some of them regarded away, not able to satisfy the alien captain's gaze, at the same time as others nodded gratefully. Captain HFY persevered. It will not be in smooth course, however we have to start someplace. We owe it to the ones who have given their lives for this motive. We owe it to our youngsters and their children's children. Together, we will construct a world in which peace and prosperity reign, in which there's no need for struggle or conquest. His phrases hung within the air like a benediction, a promise of hope inside the face of adversity. As the survivors filed out of the wardroom, their fingers clasped in a gesture of solidarity, Captain HFY knew that the destiny could now not be easy. But for the first time in generations, it felt viable. It felt proper. And for that, he turned into inclined to hazard the entirety.